I didn't plan to drive up to the cottage that Thursday. My grandson Tyler's hockey tournament wasn't until Saturday, and I'd told everyone I'd arrive Friday evening. But Wednesday night, I couldn't sleep. The cottage, our family's refuge on Lake Muskoka for 37 years, needed the dock repaired before winter, and the contractor, Jim Morrison, said he might be able to squeeze in an inspection Thursday afternoon if I could meet him there. So Thursday morning, I loaded my truck and headed north from Toronto. The October air was crisp, the maples along Highway 11 blazing orange and red. My late wife Margaret loved this drive. She'd point out every color, every cloud formation, like she was seeing it for the first time. She passed 3 years ago, and sometimes I still catch myself turning to tell her something before remembering she's not there. I pulled into the gravel driveway at 2:30, earlier than I'd told Jim. His van wasn't there yet, which was fine, gave me time to check the property, make sure everything was secure before he arrived. That's when I saw the silver Lexus, parked right where Margaret used to park her sedan, under the big oak tree. Brand new, dealer plates still on. I didn't recognize it. For a moment, I thought maybe Jim had upgraded his vehicle, but Jim drove a white contractor's van with Morrison and Sons painted on the side. This was expensive, sleek. I parked my truck and got out slowly, listening. Music drifted from inside the cottage. Not loud, but clear enough through the screened porch. Something jazzy, smooth. The hair on my neck stood up. Nobody should be here. My son Derek was in Vancouver on business. I'd talked to him yesterday morning. He'd mentioned the trip specifically. His wife Cassandra had the kids in Toronto, Tyler's tournament practice and all. She'd texted me Monday about carpooling arrangements. I walked toward the front door, my boots crunching on the gravel. The music got clearer. Michael Bublé. Margaret used to play his albums while she gardened, while she read on the screened porch, while she made dinner in the cottage kitchen. Someone was using Margaret's music in Margaret's cottage. I tested the door. Unlocked. I pushed it open slowly, the old hinges creaking the way they always did. The cottage smelled different. Expensive cologne, maybe. And wine. Definitely wine. The living room looked normal. Same furniture. Same family photos on the mantel. But there were wine glasses on the coffee table. 2 of them. A bottle of Chardonnay, 3/4 empty. A cheese board with fancy crackers and brie, half eaten. I heard voices from the back deck. Low. Intimate. I moved through the cottage like I was walking through water. Everything slowed down. Through the kitchen, through the sunroom, to the sliding glass door that led to the back deck overlooking the lake. And there they were. Cassandra, my daughter-in-law of 6 years, sitting in one of the Muskoka chairs Margaret had painted blue, wearing a sundress I'd never seen, her hair down in a way she never wore it in the city, laughing. And beside her, in the chair where I used to sit and read the paper, a man I didn't know. Mid-30s, fit, expensive, casual clothes. His hand on her knee. They were facing the lake, hadn't heard me come in. The Bublé song ended and another started. Something slow, romantic. I stood there for maybe 10 seconds, maybe 30. Time does strange things when your world tilts. Cassandra leaned over and kissed him. Not a peck, a real kiss. The kind married people give each other when they're alone, when they think nobody's watching. My chest tightened. I thought about Derek, about how hard he worked at the architecture firm, how he'd taken on extra projects this year to save for the kids' education, about how he'd proposed to Cassandra right here on this deck, 8 years ago, on Canada Day, with all of us watching the fireworks over the lake, about how Cassandra had stood right where she was sitting now, crying happy tears, saying yes. I stepped back into the sunroom, pulled out my phone, took 3 photographs through the glass. The angle was clear, her face, his face, the cottage deck, the lake behind them. No question where they were. No question what was happening. Then I cleared my throat and slid the door open. They both jumped like they'd been electrocuted. The man stood up so fast his chair almost tipped backward. Cassandra's face went white, then red, then white again. "Who are you?" I said to the man. My voice came out steady, calm. I was proud of that. He didn't answer, just stared at me, then at Cassandra. "I asked you a question," I said. "Who are you?" I'm Owen," he stammered. "Owen Hartley. I work with Cassandra at the real estate office." Real estate office. Cassandra had started working as a realtor 2 years ago, after Tyler started first grade. Said she needed something of her own, needed to feel productive. Derek had been supportive, proud, even. Owen Hartley, I repeated. And you're here because? Cassandra found her voice. Dad, this isn't. We were just. Don't, I said. I held up my hand. Don't insult me by lying. I have eyes. She closed her mouth. Tears started, but I couldn't tell if they were genuine or strategic. My late wife always said Cassandra could cry on command when it suited her. How long? I asked. Neither of them answered. How long? 8 months, Cassandra whispered. 8 months. While Derek worked late at the office. While he picked up extra projects. While he coached Tyler's hockey team on Saturdays and helped our granddaughter Emma with her math homework on Sundays. While he talked about their future. About maybe buying a bigger house. About that trip to Italy Cassandra kept mentioning. 8 months of lying. 8 months of sneaking around. 8 months of coming to our cottage, mine and Margaret's cottage, to do this. Get out, I said to Owen. Sir, get out of my cottage. He grabbed his jacket from the deck railing and practically ran through the sunroom, through the kitchen, out the front door. I heard the Lexus start up and spray gravel as he tore down the driveway. Cassandra stood there, arms wrapped around herself. Dad, please. Let me explain. Explain what? That you've been cheating on my son for 8 months? That you've been using this cottage, the place where Margaret spent every summer for 35 years, where we raised Derek, where he proposed to you to sleep with someone else? I didn't plan for this to happen, she said. Her voice was small. Derek and we've been distant. He works all the time. I felt alone. So you thought you'd feel less alone with Owen? I couldn't keep the disgust out of my voice. It's not that simple. It's exactly that simple. You made vows. You have 2 children. Derek loves you. And you repay him by sneaking around behind his back. Are you going to tell him? Her voice cracked. I looked at her. Really looked at her. This woman who'd sat at our Christmas table, who'd held Margaret's hand in the hospital during those last terrible weeks, who'd cried at the funeral and promised to name her next daughter after Margaret if they had another child. This woman who'd apparently been capable of this all along. I don't know, I said honestly. But I'm not going to lie to him. Please, she said. Please, Dad. Think about the kids. Think about what this will do to them. I am thinking about them. I'm thinking about what it'll do to them when they're older, and they realize their mother destroyed their family because she felt alone. I'm thinking about Tyler and Emma growing up in a broken home, because you couldn't keep your vows. You don't understand. You're right. I don't understand. Margaret and I were married 42 years. We had hard times. We had years where we barely spoke to each other because we were so angry or tired or overwhelmed. But we never did this. We never betrayed each other like this. The contractor's van pulled into the driveway. Jim Morrison, right on time. Go home, I told Cassandra. Go home to your children, and pray that I can figure out how to tell my son that his wife has been lying to him for 8 months. She grabbed her purse, her phone, looked at me once more, tears streaming. I'm sorry, she whispered. So am I said. She left through the side door, the one that led to where her car was parked on the other side of the cottage. I heard her BMW start up, heard her drive away. Jim knocked on the screen door. Doug, you in there? Yeah, Jim, come on in. Let's look at that dock. I went through the motions, showed him the rotten boards, the loose posts, discussed replacement options, costs, timelines. He said he could start Monday if the weather held. I said that sounded fine. The whole time, my phone felt like a brick in my pocket. I had the photographs. I had the evidence. I had the truth. But what was I supposed to do with it? After Jim left, I sat on the deck in the same chair where Owen Hartley had been sitting 40 minutes earlier. The sun was starting to set, painting the lake gold and pink. Margaret's favorite time of day. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my contacts. Derek's number was right at the top, under favorites. My thumb hovered over his name. How do you tell your son that his wife has been betraying him? How do you destroy his world with a phone call? But how do you not tell him? How do you let him keep living a lie, keep working himself to death for a family that's already broken, keep trusting someone who doesn't deserve his trust? I thought about calling my daughter Rebecca in Ottawa. She was level-headed, practical. She'd know what to do. But this wasn't her burden to carry. This was mine. I looked at the photographs on my phone again. Clear as day. Undeniable. Then I noticed something in the third photo, in the background. The credit card bill I'd left on the kitchen counter when I checked the cottage last month. I zoomed in, couldn't quite read it. I went back inside and found the bill. MasterCard statement for the joint account Derek and Cassandra shared. I'd grabbed it by mistake last month when I was sorting mail they'd had forwarded here. I started reading through the charges from the past 6 months. Restaurants in Collingwood, wine bars in Barrie, hotels in Muskoka, the Sheraton, the Marriott, the JW Marriott, always on Thursdays, always charged to Derek's card. My hands started shaking. I added it up. Roughly $12,000 over 6 months. While Derek talked about cutting back on expenses, while Cassandra said they needed to save money, maybe she should cut back her hours at work. She'd been spending his money on her affair. I took photographs of every page of the statement. Then I called Derek's accountant, Martin Chen, who I knew socially from the Rotary Club. Martin, it's Doug Fletcher. I need to ask you something confidential about Derek's finances. Doug, you know I can't discuss. Has Cassandra been pulling money from their joint savings? Silence. On the line. Martin? Doug, I really shouldn't. Please. It's important. He sighed. She withdrew $40,000 from their investment account 8 weeks ago. Said it was for home renovations. Derek doesn't know yet. I've been trying to reach him to review the quarterly statements, but he's been so busy with that Vancouver project. $40,000. Thanks, Martin, I said. My voice sounded distant in my own ears. Doug, is everything okay? No, I said, but it will be. I hung up and sat in Margaret's reading chair, the one by the window where she used to watch the loons in the early morning. Cassandra hadn't just betrayed Derek emotionally. She'd stolen from him financially. While he worked himself ragged, she'd been draining their accounts to fund her affair. I looked at Owen Hartley's name again. He worked at the real estate office with Cassandra. I pulled up the company website. Wellington Real Estate, one of Toronto's bigger firms. There he was, Owen Hartley, Senior Sales Associate. And there, 3 photos down in the team section. Jennifer Hartley, broker, Owen's wife. I stared at her photo. Mid-30s, professionally dressed, warm smile. The kind of person who probably had no idea her husband was spending his Thursday afternoons at a cottage on Lake Muskoka with a married co-worker. I thought about Derek. About how he'd feel when he found out. About Tyler and Emma, 8 and 6 years old, who still believed their parents were happy. And I thought about Jennifer Hartley, who deserved to know the truth just as much as my son did. I made my decision. I called the Wellington Real Estate main line. Hello, I'm trying to reach Jennifer Hartley. Is she available? One moment, please. Hold music. My heart hammering. This is Jennifer Hartley. Mrs. Hartley, my name is Doug Fletcher. You don't know me, but I need to speak with you about something urgent. It concerns your husband. A pause. Is Owen all right? Has something happened? He's fine, physically, but there's something you need to know, and I'd rather discuss it in person. Are you available to meet this evening? Hi, Mr. Fletcher. You're scaring me. What is this about? Your husband is having an affair with my daughter-in-law. I caught them together today at my cottage. I have photographs. I think you and I need to talk before we decide what to do next. The silence on the line lasted so long I thought she'd hung up. Then, where? We met at a Tim Hortons off the 400, halfway between the cottage and the city. Neutral ground, public place. She was already there when I arrived, sitting in a corner booth, hands wrapped around a coffee cup. She looked smaller in person than in her professional photo. Tired, like she'd been expecting this call for a while. I sat down across from her and slid my phone across the table. I'm sorry to do this to you, but you deserve to know the truth. She looked at the photographs. 1, 2, 3. Her face didn't change expression. She just stared at the images, her jaw tightening with each one. How long? She asked quietly. My daughter-in-law said 8 months. She laughed. It was a bitter sound. 8 months. We just celebrated our 10th anniversary 6 weeks ago. He took me to Niagara Falls. Said he wanted to renew our vows. Her voice cracked. I thought we were happy. I'm sorry, I said. Does your son know? Not yet. I wanted to talk to you first. I thought maybe we could handle this together. Make sure we both have what we need before everything explodes. She looked at me. Really looked at me. You're protecting your son, and you should be protected too. You didn't do anything wrong. Neither did your son. We sat there for a moment. Two people whose families were about to implode, trying to figure out how to minimize the damage. I want copies of those photos, she said, and any other evidence you have. I'll send them to your email. I also have credit card statements showing expenses, hotels, restaurants. Your husband and my daughter-in-law have been using my son's money to fund their affair. Her hands tightened on the coffee cup. Owen told me he was working late on Thursdays, showing properties to international clients. Cassandra told Derek she was doing open houses. We have 2 kids, Jennifer said, 7 and 5, girls. I have 2 grandchildren, 8 and 6. She closed her eyes. This is going to destroy them. I know. We exchanged information, phone numbers, email addresses. We agreed to confront our spouses simultaneously, her with Owen, me with Derek, so neither could warn the other. We agreed to share evidence, to help each other through the legal processes that would inevitably follow. Before we parted ways in the parking lot, she touched my arm. Thank you, she said, for telling me. A lot of people wouldn't have. My wife always said the truth matters more than comfort, I told her. Even when it hurts. Your wife sounds like she was a wise woman. She was. I drove back to Toronto that night instead of staying at the cottage. I couldn't sleep there. Not after what I'd seen. Not with Margaret's memory everywhere, and Cassandra's betrayal contaminating the air. I got home at 11 and sat in my kitchen for 2 hours, rehearsing what I'd say to Derek. But there's no good way to tell your son his marriage is over. Finally, at 1 in the morning, I called him. Dad, you okay? It's late. I need you to come to my house tomorrow morning. Early, before work. What's wrong? Are you sick? I'm fine. But we need to talk. It's about Cassandra. I heard him sit up in bed. What about her? Is she okay? Just come over tomorrow. 7 a.m. Don't bring the kids. Don't tell Cassandra where you're going. Dad, you're scaring me. I know. I'm sorry. But trust me on this. 7 a.m. Just you. He showed up at 6:45, still in his pajamas under his coat. I'd made coffee, but he didn't touch it. What's going on? He demanded. I handed him my phone with the photographs pulled up. He looked at the first one. His face went pale. What is this? Look at all 3. He scrolled through them. His hand started shaking. He set the phone down on the kitchen table, like it had burned him. When? His voice was barely a whisper. Yesterday afternoon, I went up to meet the contractor about the dock. She was there with a coworker, Owen Hartley. Owen. Derek's voice was flat. She talks about him sometimes. The top producer at her office. She said it's been going on for 8 months. Derek stood up, walked to the window, stood there with his back to me. I could see his shoulders shaking. Derek. I worked late every Thursday for the past year, he said. His voice was thick. Every Thursday, because we needed the money for the kids' activities, for the house, for everything. She said she understood. She said she was proud of me. He turned around. His eyes were red. Every Thursday, Dad. That's when she was with him. I know. At the cottage. Our cottage. Where I proposed to her. I know. He sat back down heavily. Put his head in his hands. What do I do? I pulled out the credit card statements and the bank information from Martin. Laid them out on the table. First, you protect yourself. She's been spending your money on this affair. $12,000 on hotels and restaurants. $40,000 withdrawn from your investment account. She told Martin it was for home renovations, but I checked with Derek Martinez next door. No renovations. Derek stared at the papers. She stole from us. Yes. While I was working myself to death. Yes. He looked up at me. What did you do? After you caught them? I sent her home. Then I called Owen's wife. You what? I called Jennifer Hartley, Owen's wife. I showed her the photographs. She deserves to know the truth, just like you do. What did she say? She thanked me. We're coordinating. She's confronting Owen this morning, same time I'm telling you, so they can't get their stories straight. Derek laughed. It was an ugly sound. You've thought of everything. I learned from the best. Your mother always said that if you're going to do something, do it right. Don't leave loose ends. He wiped his eyes. I have to divorce her, don't I? That's up to you. But you need to protect yourself financially first. Today. Before she realizes, you know. He nodded slowly. Okay. What do I need to do? I walked him through it. Call Martin, the accountant. Freeze the joint accounts. Get copies of all financial records. Call a lawyer. I'd already lined up my attorney, Richard Bowman, who did family law. Document everything. And the kids? Derek's voice broke. How do I tell Tyler and Emma? We'll figure that out together. But first, you confront Cassandra. You need to hear it from her. You need to see her face when she has to admit what she's done. He left my house at 8:30. I told him to call me after he talked to her. The call came at 10:15. It's done, Derek said. He sounded exhausted. I showed her the photos. She cried, said she was sorry, said it was a mistake, said she loved me. What did you say? I said 6 words. I want a divorce. Get out. Actually, 6 words. Not 2, not 4. 6. Where is she now? Her sister's place in Mississauga. I told her not to come back until we figure out custody arrangements. I called Richard Bowman. He's filing papers Monday. Good. Dad? Yeah? Thank you for telling me. I know that wasn't easy. Hardest thing I've ever done, I admitted. Telling you meant breaking your heart, but not telling you meant letting you live a lie. And your mother taught me that the truth always matters more. Mom would be proud of you. Your mother would be furious at Cassandra, and proud of you for having the strength to walk away. The divorce took 9 months. Cassandra fought for joint custody, fought for the cottage, fought for half of everything. But Richard Bowman was good. We had the photographs, the credit card statements, the bank records showing financial infidelity. Jennifer Hartley and I became unlikely allies. We shared lawyers, shared strategies. Our cases moved forward together, 2 families destroyed by the same affair, seeking justice in parallel. Owen and Cassandra's relationship didn't survive their spouses finding out. They broke up 6 weeks after everything came to light. Apparently the affair was more exciting when it was secret. The custody arrangement was bittersweet. Derek got primary custody of Tyler and Emma, with Cassandra having visitation every other weekend and Wednesday evenings. It killed Derek to watch the kids leave with their mother, knowing what she'd done, but he never spoke badly about her to them. He said they deserved to form their own opinions when they were old enough to understand. Cassandra tried to apologize to me once, at Tyler's hockey game 8 months after the divorce was finalized. She cornered me in the parking lot. I know you hate me, she said. I don't hate you, I said honestly. I'm disappointed in you. I'm angry at the choices you made, but I don't hate you. Will you ever forgive me? I thought about that. Maybe someday. When the kids are older. When Derek has healed. When I can look at you without seeing what you did to my son. To my grandchildren. To the memory of my cottage and everything it meant to our family. Maybe then. She started to cry. I never meant to hurt anyone. But you did. And intent doesn't erase consequences. You made choices every single day for 8 months. Every time you lied, every time you snuck around, every time you spent Derek's money on your affair, those were choices. And choices have consequences. I walked away and left her standing in the parking lot. A year and a half after everything fell apart, I drove up to the cottage on a Saturday in June. Derek was there with Tyler and Emma, teaching them to fish off the newly repaired dock Jim Morrison had built. Emma squealed when she caught a sunfish, her first ever. Derek helped her release it back into the water, both of them laughing. Tyler sat next to me on the dock, dangling his feet over the edge. Grandpa, is Mom ever going to come back? Back to the cottage? Back to our family. I put my arm around him. No, buddy. Your mom and dad aren't getting back together, but that doesn't mean she's not part of your life. She loves you and your sister very much. Then why did she leave? How do you explain adult betrayal to an 8-year-old? How do you tell him that his mother made choices that destroyed his family? Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, I said carefully. Big mistakes that hurt people they love. Your mom made some mistakes, and they hurt your dad so much that they couldn't stay married anymore. But it's not your fault, and it's not Emma's fault. You're both loved very much by both your parents. And by you, Tyler said, especially by me. We sat there for a while, watching Emma and Derek fish. The sun sparkled on the water. A loon called from across the lake. Margaret's favorite sound. I thought about the phone call I'd made to Jennifer Hartley that October night. About how scary it had been to insert myself into someone else's marriage, to blow up my son's life with the truth. But I also thought about Derek now, a year and a half later. Still standing, still loving his kids, still moving forward. The truth had hurt him, but the lie would have destroyed him. Grandpa? Tyler said. Yeah, buddy. Can we come here more often? Just us? Absolutely. This cottage belongs to our family, all of us. And we're going to keep making memories here for a long time. Good, he said. I like it here. It makes me feel close to great-grandma Margaret. I pulled him closer. Me too, buddy. Me too. That evening, after the kids were in bed, Derek and I sat on the deck with beers, watching the sunset paint the lake gold and pink. You did the right thing, Derek said suddenly, telling me, calling Jennifer, all of it. Some days I wonder, I admitted. I see how hard it's been on you and the kids, and I wonder if I should have kept my mouth shut. Then I'd still be married to someone who was stealing from me and lying to me. I'd be working myself to death for a woman who didn't respect me. The kids would grow up thinking that kind of marriage is normal. He turned to look at me. You gave me the truth. It hurt like hell, but it set me free. And someday, when Tyler and Emma are older, when they ask me why their mom and I divorced, I'm going to tell them the truth. And I'm going to tell them that their grandfather loved me enough to break my heart so I could heal. Your mother always said that love sometimes means doing the hard thing, not the easy thing. She was right about everything, wasn't she? Pretty much. We sat in comfortable silence as the sun disappeared and the stars came out. The cottage was filled with new memories, now Tyler's laughter, Emma's excitement over her first fish, Derek's quiet resilience. The affair had tried to contaminate this place, this sacred ground that Margaret had loved. But love is stronger than betrayal. Family is stronger than lies. And the truth, no matter how painful, is always stronger than the most comfortable deception. I raised my beer. To Margaret. And to doing the right thing, even when it's hard. Derek clinked his bottle against mine. To Margaret. And to second chances. We drank as the loons called across the water, and the cottage stood strong against the darkness, holding us all in its familiar, loving embrace. Because sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing are the same. And sometimes family means protecting the people you love, even when the protection comes wrapped in pain. That's the lesson Margaret taught me in 42 years of marriage. And that's the lesson I'll pass on to Tyler and Emma when they're old enough to understand. The truth matters. Family matters. And sacred ground is worth defending, no matter what it costs.